Hello guys, welcome back to another Conan build video. In the last one, we created a Japanese castle that was suggested by one of my commenters who came across the video, and it was actually an amazing build. I do recommend watching it. I'll probably put it at the end of the video here with one of those cards that you can click on. But in this one, we are going to be building a church. Now, it's going to look, I'd say more maybe cathedral-esque, but not like these grand standing cathedrals that you see throughout Europe, but definitely something that you'd be like, oh, that's really nice looking. And we're going to be using a different material today because there was two different designs that I had in mind, and I'll probably do a separate video for the other one that I was thinking about because I use Nemedian all the time, and that was one of the other designs that I was suggesting to myself. But really, we're going to be using Storm Glass, and I love Storm Glass. So if you want to know where I am first, we are at E9, which is actually nearby where I built the Japanese castle in the last video. Um, but we are in the Devil's Squat, and this is where a lot of wolves are. As you can see, wolves kind of behind me from afar. There's a lot of them here. But I kind of cleared out most of it so that way we could do the build. And at first I was kind of thinking we could build it on like a cliffside, but I'm thinking, no, that's not going to look good. So we're just going to be building it right here in the middle because I think it looked pretty good. So if you want to know what Stormglass is from, Stormglass, you're able to get it if you get Isla Siptah. Um, so the only way to get it is to buy also the DLC that gives you the new map as well. Well, not new anymore, but you get a different map. So, but it's really cool. And they also had a pack in the bazaar once they started doing battle passes. They actually were selling a build kit that had extra stuff like these Stormglass Rose windows, which I think are really nice. And also, I believe no, the vaulted ceilings were already part of it, but we also have double door frames, which we're going to be using those as well, and I can't wait to use them. So let's get started. So I'm going to be using, we're not going to be using the floors though for Stormglass. I'm going to try to find something that's a bit, that matches it. And this is going to be kind of small. And when you think of cathedrals, think of something large, but we're going to use something a little bit more medium-sized. And if I want to use those rose windows, we're going to have to do something that's evenly spaced out. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to do 6. So that way the rose window could be in the middle. And we're going to go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, need some support underneath there. So let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's do 11. 12. We'll do 12. We'll do double the length. Double the, pretty much double it up. I don't know what I was trying to say there. And then you just want to close it off like this. It doesn't matter which way you face these are going to be the outline. And we want to get enough space here just because we want to put a lot of pews in here. We want to have like long carpet go to where, you know, you'd have a priest speaking or whomever is going to be speaking there. Depending on, I mean, it's a church, so it's going to be more like Catholic or Protestant, I believe. So we're going to use the double door frame, which can sit just like that, which fits the entire foundation here, which is pretty cool. And we're going to just use these foundations for this part alone. Actually, no, I lied. We're going to use ceilings. So I definitely want to use the fence foundations for the storm glass. And you gotta make sure that they face the correct way, otherwise it just kind of looks a little weird. I mean, you could probably face them like this, just to have this blank slate instead. Just depends on how you want it to look, really, in the end. But we're just gonna be using these ones where they're facing the right directions. And we just want to go all the way around. And the reason why I'm doing this is because regular foundations take more to render than that of the fence foundations, because fence foundations are obviously smaller. They're thinner, and just by looking at them, you could tell that they do take less to render. And I know that not recent, but a while back, Funcom did add a update to where to where the foundations don't take as much rendering power, but it's always still good to do it this way. And I actually learned this from a good friend of mine a long time ago, because I saw her doing it, and I'm just like, oh, I never thought never thought about it that way. And so she kind of taught me how to do it, and because she gave me the idea or the knowledge about the rendering thing, and yeah, I've been doing it ever since then. And I do recommend for anybody who does play Conan Exiles quite often, and you build a lot in the game, I do recommend doing that kind of method. Especially if you're doing probably modded Conan, because, you know, if there's like all kinds of other building stuff you want to do, if you want to make a big build or something like that, the fence foundations will make it a little bit easier so it doesn't take as much to render if you're trying to put a bunch of other stuff in there in your build. But here we have our layout here, and it's just a big rectangle. Just a big rectangle for right now. But what we're going to be doing is I'm going to take these foundations here, and we're going to go in the corners like this, while also making sure that they're facing the right directions. And I'm going to be doing this on both corners here, because these are going to be little towers that are going to stick out here. Turrets, if you will, or something of whatever you want to call it. Towers. I'll call it towers just to make it a little bit easier to define. And then in the middle here, we have just a big old flat wall here. And I kind of don't like that. So I think what we'll do is we'll do some intervals here. So we'll do one here. So 3 in between, 1 there, 3 in between, 1 here. And I want to make sure that this has enough support underneath too, so that way you don't have any trouble with that. And then it has 4 in between, like so. So that looks really good. Spaced out really nicely. And then we want to do the same thing on the opposite side. Oh, some of these need to actually have support underneath as well. Make sure that they get that, like so. Perfect. Okay. Yep. And then we just want to do the same side here, or the opposite side with these foundations. And that way we have something that looks like this. Now these towers aren't going to be used in any way, they're just going to be there for looks. So once we have our outline here, what we're going to do next is put the floor in. Now, in Stormglass, there are actually different types of ceilings. There's the one that looks just like the foundations. There's these ones, these ceilings that actually look pretty good. And then there's glass ceilings, which is really interesting. And I kind of wish other build packs had those as well, because it would just make things look pretty cool. Just having a glass version of the walls, ceiling, even roof as well. That's what's so unique about Stormglass. Anyway, so we're actually going to be using this version of the ceiling just because I like the contrast between the two here, between the black and the white. It just looks good. And it doesn't matter which way you actually face this because it's symmetrical throughout the entire thing. And we're just going to go all the way around. And you can do it two different ways, or there's many different ways you could do this. You could go all the way around like a perimeter like this. You could just fill it in how I was, just going row by row. You can do column by column. You can go around like this, around in a circle, square, circle, rectangle. But in the middle here, because you could see how it doesn't have that much support underneath it, we definitely want to make sure that there is support. So I definitely want to take some storm glass pillars and place them underneath here, and just make sure that and we're not going to have anything underneath here. There's no reason to have anything here. Just find where you find spots where there's yellow and probably orange, red, or something like that, or even like a yellowish green, just to kind of help with the support underneath. And these are going to be kind of sporadic, as you can see here. So just want to make sure we have support in every part of this build, because if you build up, you definitely want all that support underneath. And the more support you have, the better it is overall. Just like that. So, and with it raining and being cloudy in the game, it actually kind of tones down the brightness there, because it's kind of blinded me for a second. All right, but this is how it looks. I think it looks pretty cool. You could even do something where you do a combination of these pieces, where in the middle here, we could probably put, and it's just probably just going to go straight across, but we could have the middle here, with it being a walkway, be this regular ceiling of storm glass, just like that. Kind of gives you a good indicator of like, I want rugs to be through here. This is the walkway. The sides are going to be just, the sides are just going to be where the pews go, or whatever you plan to put on the sides. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is obviously put the door in, because that is very important. And I'm actually not wanting to make it flat here, because you see how it is like this? I'm actually going to go in by one, do something a little bit different. And this might act a little finicky at first because it doesn't want to cooperate with you. And if it does do that, don't worry, just try to change it up a little bit like how I'm doing. So we're going to do kind of a concave thing where it goes, you know, it's these two sides stick out, but this one in the middle goes inward. And I kind of like that. So, and I think it just looked better overall. Oh, there we go. Just like that. And for these, it doesn't really matter which way they face, because both sides, both ends are the same thing. They are symmetrical with each other. And then we take the double door and we place it right there. Now, the next thing is we're going to take, there's interior walls and then there's regular storm glass walls. So interior walls, obviously both sides have the same, they're the same. But we're going to use these outside, we're going to use these regular storm glass walls that has an exterior and interior. And we're also going to be using the storm glass frames. And I love these so much. These make builds look so good. So good. And you can see already. And that pack that I was talking about, that build kit that I was talking about, it came with these as well, the arched windows, which are pretty much like the caps of these. I mean, just look how good that is. That looks so good. Definitely brings in a lot of good architectural design there. Like it's such a good feature with storm glass in general. Now, the way that I'm thinking about this is I don't know if I want it to be like just windows going all the way up to the top, but instead I probably want to just go, because this is going to be tall. So I definitely want it to be tall, but I don't want it to have the windows go like all the way up. So I'm going to keep a break in between by using these caps here and just repeat. Just do 2 iterations of these, just like so. And it just looks good that way, because having a continuous window might look good, but I kind of like the break in between. And it's not as if it's going to have multiple floors, it's all going to be one big room. So it's going to be just really tall ceiling. The other thing you could probably think about is if you just did 2, and then instead we did 2, and then like this. Oh, excuse me, that's not what I meant to do. Do 1 and then like that. But that definitely makes it too short, in my opinion. So I think doing 3 high, in total it'd be 6 high, because it kind of gives you the grandeur of the actual cathedral. Now this middle here, we're not going to be doing anything with windows, because the top here is going to have the rose window, and we don't want to take away the attention of it at all by putting other windows in place. And I'm just gonna fill in this little space here, because this space isn't really going to be used all that much. And we're going to put just a ceiling here and here, so that way the rose window can sit atop this, just like that. And oh, that just looks good. It looks really good. Another method that I was thinking was probably I could take these window sections, have them face outward like this, take the caps here, just like so, and probably raise it up 1, because the way the roof's going to go is it obviously is going to be taller, so we could probably utilize that, but we'll get to that in a moment. So we just want to take the rest of these walls here and just go around, go all the way around. And since these towers are for show, they're not going to be used for anything, you could just block them off. Just making sure that the outside facing wall faces in this part, and then the inner wall faces the inside, just like so. And then we just want to build this up. Now for these windows here, we obviously want to make sure that we keep the same pattern as we did with the front. That makes it go all the way to the top, just like that. And that looks really good. Looks really, really good, I think. Yeah, I don't use Stormglass that often. I haven't actually been using Stormglass all that much. The only other time that I've used Stormglass was actually in my Wizard Tower build, which I would love to do another one of those and just approach it as in a different way. And that's actually probably my most popular build in Conan Exiles so far in the channel, which, you know, I can't thank you guys enough for the support for that. I really do appreciate that. But I would love to revisit it and maybe use a different material and maybe change up the shape a little bit. And yeah, just go from there. Okay, so this is looking pretty good so far, I think. Yeah, these towers, I think what would be a better idea, instead of bringing this up all the way, is maybe taking the ones that are on the inside, that are on the inner portion here on this wall, build them up a little bit, probably about halfway, and then take some of these sloping walls and put a roof over it. Now there's technically 3 different roof types that we could do. We could do the ramp. I'm not a big fan of the ramp. We could do a normal piece like this, or we could do a window roof piece. Now the thing with the window roof pieces is if I were to put them, let's say, above here and kind of made some skylights, the only problem with these is that it can rain through them. So if you build this in the highlands, I will say refrain from actually using the sloped windows unless you decide to put them over spaces where you're not going to be, where it's like a little space like this where you're not going to be entering it at all. Then at that point it doesn't really matter. But I think just for the sake of it, we're just going to use the regular sloped roof. Now, skylight would definitely be really good to have, but unfortunately, we can't really do it. So what I'm going to be doing is just building the rest of this space, pretty much mimicking this side with the other side as well. And if I make any slight adjustments in between, I will definitely show you, and I'll explain how I did it. So I will see you guys in just a minute while I complete this. Okay, so there's a couple things I changed. So instead of these squares on the sides here, I kept the same height for when the roof would go against the wall here. But instead, what I did is I took wedge foundations and I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pretty much across this whole bit in between this window, and I used more fence foundations, and then I built it up the same height with the squares, and then just used the wedge roofs instead for both sides. Then what I decided to do is I decided to take, so we have this floor here, this set of windows here is normal, but I wanted to kind of do something a little bit different to make the outside less flat. Because even with these, like, it does make it a little less flat, but it's still kind of square if you catch my drift. So what I did instead was this middle bit, I decided to put 2 roof pieces here, bring it in a little bit, and then I also used the the inverted walls, the inverted sloping walls, both left and right, and I put one there, regular walls, and then I finished it off with regular window, and then the window caps. And then I did the same thing to the opposite side as well. And then I also added these door frames, which these door frames are from, it's a large arch. These are from the build kit that I was talking about, or the pack that has the extra stuff in it too. So, and the last thing I did was add this little back part here, just that way the back isn't flat. And I was contemplating whether or not I wanted to make it 2 high or 3 high, and I think 3 high looks good just because it matches at least the first bit here. I think it looks good overall. So now we can actually move on to the roofing bit, which we might change this middle part here, because I was also thinking like maybe I could bring this out instead of the concave, but we'll see what it looks like when we actually put the roof on. So the roof is still going to be the same. We're going to be using the sloped roofs here. And I might add a couple things here to make it look a little like pretty cool, if you will. Pretty cool. So I'm just gonna keep some spaces here. So we have 3 on this side, 3 on that side. And the reason why I'm doing that is because maybe I would want to, I don't know if that looks good with it or not, just have the roof caps on or just a regular roof like that. Probably the roof cap because it has the rounded bit. And just kind of place them like this. And then we're going to use our inverted walls. And this is something I'm just going to test out real quick because this might not be permanent, but I do want to see what it looks like, at least from first glance. And you guys can look at it too in case this might be something you want to try out as well. And sometimes these sloping pieces can be a little bit annoying because sometimes they'll work, sometimes they won't. And what's cool is that these rooftop pieces here, there's like a rooftop cap, which I think looks cool. But we're going to use the regular one here that kind of goes in like this. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then, where's the roof cap? That's what I want to know. These even have awnings too. So in case you want to use awnings, there's like the glass one, which they're only glass. There's only glass ones. but they look really nice, I think. That's if you want to use something like that too. There's also these giant pillars, which honestly, I might want to use them in this build as well, at least on some of these corner bits here. And then we can build up like this, and we can build all the way up to the top, to the roof right here, and then finish it off with this. I mean, that looks really cool, I think. And honestly, you could just fill this all the way around if you want to, because each one will fill in a whole space like this. So you can have like one big pillar somewhere, which really, if probably not with the window, and it won't even let me do it anyway for some reason. I don't know why. Probably because the window's there. But you can fit these all together in a corner if you want, and then yeah, just kind of build them up like that, or just directly in the middle if you want a giant pillar in the middle too. But I think at the entrance looks really good. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool, just having it like that. Um, and I think we'll probably only utilize it for that spot there because I don't think I will be able to anywhere else. But just to keep that in mind in case you want to do something else. But I still need to figure out where the heck this cap is. Oh, there's also gargoyles too, which I think are pretty darn cool. And these are used for this type of thing. You can see the Japanese castle in the distance. Yeah, these gargoyles are used for this type of build, a cathedral. So, very, very cool. And really, I could probably just connect them up like this too, just intervals or something like that, instead of having these poke out like this. All really depends. And with the roofing, it might be a little bit awkward. There's also the buttresses too, which I totally forgot about. Yeah, these things. So you could literally make this more into a cathedral if you want to. But I think what we have right now is pretty good. So this part isn't going to work out as much as I thought it was going to be, as much as it would, as I thought it was going to be. I can't talk. I can't talk for some reason. Um, so we're just going to change it up a bit. There we go. I put that back there because I got rid of it. We're just going to use regular roofs here. Just like that. Now this middle bit here might be a little awkward, just based on how it's inside, at least it goes in once. So we'll probably get back to that in a moment. But we just want to continue to do something like this. And I think what I'm going to do as well is put another rose window on the back. I think that would be a good idea. So I'm going to take... Oh, I found the roof cap. Take these sloped pieces and just go around like so. And then this middle part will have the rose window. And it probably won't work because it needs a ceiling. It needs some foundation underneath it for it to work. And it might be best if I actually kept it at the same level as that one, but again, I might raise it up probably by 2 or 1. Because if I put it here, and it's being very weird. There we go. Oh. Come on. There we go. Like that. Yeah, it actually fits really well with it, but I think just having it up by 1 is the best solution. And I say that because it would match better with the level of these other windows as well as the height of the build. And that way it has some space above it and it doesn't look as awkward, I think. Yeah. I think that looks good, but I definitely want to try the other way too. Just in case I might be wrong, because for some that version might look good, but this version might look better. Because it just caps off like that. Yeah, it's not too bad. Actually, that looks pretty good too. That doesn't look bad after all. We'll keep it like that. We'll keep it like that. I like it. Okay. Now, I'm just going to continue doing the roof here and just kind of build this up. And the other thing I was thinking about is probably taking this section here, this middle section, and just building it up like a tower. And I think that would probably be better to do instead of probably trying to make an awkward roofing with it. So that's what I'm going to do instead. So let's just do this normally as we normally would throughout the whole build. And I'm going to raise this up a lot higher. So it's on the same level as that. And then we're going to take our ceilings, place them down, just like so. And the other cool thing that I could do is use these struts. Oh no, these are bigger than I thought. Okay. These are cool though. I might want to build something out of this. Probably something a lot better with these because, I mean, there's a lot more to really work with than what I thought initially. Because I never even really looked at them all that much until like just now. So build this up just like this. And I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to use the inverted walls here and create this sort of awning above the door, where the door frame is. So that way there's at least some cover from the rain. And we can put, oops, we can put a ceiling right there. And then just finish it off with the top like this. Yeah, that looks really good. That looks pretty darn good, I think, so far. All right, so I'm gonna finish the rest of this roof. So once I finish the rest of this, I will come back and show you the changes that I've made, if I made any changes whatsoever. So see you guys in just a minute. All right, so I finished the roof here, and I also added a tower in the middle. So what I did was I brought up the walls here by 3. Then I took the storm glass sloped roof corners and I closed off these sides so that way it's not as rectangular as we're going up. And then finished off by making a tower by taking the regular walls but also layering the windows on all 4 sides and capping it off just like we did at the beginning here with these windows. So it goes up 2 and then capped off with the window cap just like that. And then I also finished the corners here, the corner towers, and raised them up a little bit and put rooftop caps on them, which the storm glass rooftop caps, which I think look really cool. And then I also put some gargoyles around, 2 in the front, 4 on each side, with a space in between. Looks really good, I think. Now, the last couple things we're going to do is put a ceiling in, put some lights around, put a porch in, or at least an entrance in, so that way, you can actually get inside and have a easy time of navigating through the place. And really, I mean, if I didn't have these windows here, it probably would be cool to have, these awnings in place, like all across here, and then kind of a ceiling bit right here. I think that looked pretty cool, but I don't want to block those windows with something. Oops, I am messing up here. Alright, so we're gonna put, this might just be kind of a little, maybe not like a tiny porch, but definitely, or entryway. I'm gonna call it a porch because it's at the front, so that's what I call it that. But at least enough rooms, that way there's, you have space to get in. And I'm gonna use these fence foundations here. So that way there's support underneath and it's not just floating, because it just looks a little awkward if it's like that. I'm thinking of bringing this out by one more and closing it off just like that. And I think that looks good. Now, for decorations, what I was thinking of doing is maybe, if I could find them somewhere, maybe a fountain if it's not too big, obviously. So something like, yeah, something like this, the Argosian fountain. This fountain has to go up against the wall, so I think having more of a rounded one would be better. Just like that. And it's definitely a contrast to the build, because the entire build is just, it's black. Black and gold, except for the inside, because some of the floor is obviously white. So now for the stairs, I think where I'm going to put them is on these corners here. And this space here, this whole space around this fountain is the walkway. And then we're going to use our fences here. I think that looks good. Now, I wanted to try to see if crenulated walls would look good with this. Let me see. Not really. They don't look good with that. I think fencing might look a lot better instead, because it's taller and it just looks better overall. But I think the caps are definitely something that I prefer over these fences anyway. Yeah, they look good that way. Now, inside, when we go in, we have this big old space here, but I want to do something more with this because I don't like how these are floating here, just like that. So I might want to put some crenulated walls underneath, and we could do that by taking these and place them underneath, just like so. Now this part here doesn't need crenulated. And I was also thinking of maybe changing up or like putting ceilings in and kind of doing something where, or even, actually I have a better idea. So let's take some ceilings, and I'm going to use the white ones here. Yeah, these ones. Because they're going to match. Why can't I put that there? Oh, it's the gargoyle. Oh, I'm going to have to do like, oh, put the ceiling first and then the gargoyle, because it's weird like that, I guess. But we're going to put these ceilings down like so. All the way around here. And I'll go back over those real quick. And close that off like so. And then we'll put the roof pieces back, obviously, as well as the gargoyles, because they're part of the build. We don't want to get rid of them at all. Alright, I fixed that. Now we're going to take these walls here, and we're just going to go all the way across, just like this. And once they're across like so, we're going to layer it up a second time, like this. And this middle bit here can just go all the way up to where it matches the, where it meets up with this. And you might have to get rid of this part too, at least on these sides, just because the wall here will actually be the support this time instead of the inverted walls. So at least gives it more support in the long run, which is good, I think. But then once you layer up all the walls here, and these where this row where the top of this rose window is. Just want to take these sloping walls and make sure that the outside is facing the opposite of you for both, since we want these walls to face the opposite side. So the outer face is facing opposite of us, if that makes sense. Just like that, and then finish off any other walls you haven't put in yet, and there we go. Just like that. That looks really good, I think. Honestly, that does look pretty nice. Yep, and now we have this big open space. Now, we're gonna put some lights on the outside, at least on the front and the inside. So we want this place to look nice. And I mean, really a brazier in the middle instead of a fountain would look good too, but I want to keep that there. And I really do like the Turanian braziers because they just really match the theme well, I think. So I'll probably put one right here, one right here, and really what I was thinking of doing is putting this Aquilonian brazier hanging right in front of the rose window just like that. So that way there's light above there. And we have some light out here already. Now for the inside, imagining there's like pews here, and I'm thinking of putting the Turanian braziers in between these window caps here, or at least in the middle, just like so. And the same thing on this side too, in between these ones. Because I don't want I don't want it to be super duper bright in here, but I also don't want it to be really dark. So, and I'll put one right here in the front too. And it's okay if it's not completely centered. It's okay. It happens. And then if you also want to, you can put some ceiling lights as well. Go with these Aquilonian ones if you have them, of course, or you can use regular ones. Totally up to you. And I think we could put one here. And that's like one space away, so we put one here. And then the same thing on this side too. One there. One there. Right there. There we go. Just like that. That looks good. And then these side rooms as well. You know, want to make sure that there's enough light in here too. So I'll probably put two of those. And just for the heck of it, I'll put one on these side rooms as well, which will be four of them. And I'm getting lost in just a little room because it's very small. But yeah, this looks good overall, I think. I think this turned out really nice. I think having a full setup of like pews and everything, I just think this space in general, like this is a good space just for crafting stations, honestly, because it's very big, but it's definitely a lot of work. Definitely a lot of work, not gonna lie, because it's taken over an hour to record this, but I think it was well worth it. I really do think so. I really, really do think so. This looks really cool. I definitely want to utilize more of the building kit though with the storm glass. Definitely with these flying buttresses, more of the gargoyles, definitely more of these double door frames, and even with these storm glass large struts. Like, there's a lot more that we could do with this and probably even make bigger builds, but I think this is good enough as is, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys thought of this build down below, and definitely let me know any suggestions you want me to do. I can also show you the one build probably in the next build video where it's another church, but I think I'm going to call this one Cathedral because it definitely looks more cathedral-esque, while the other one's going to be more like medieval church. So I'll show you with that one with the median because it's going to look really good. But oh my gosh, I think this turned out so, so nice. I like the back. The back looks really good too. And the sides. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this, please be sure to hit that like button. I really appreciate that. And do not forget to hit subscribe as well because that lets me know that you guys are the content on the channel and would like to see more. I'd like to give a shout out to my friends Gabe and Barry Medley for being members of the channel. And you can become a member too by hitting the join button down below. I've been Savvy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys. See you later.